chemistry kind of building on this team and maybe being at another level when they all get on that same page? You had a kind of mixed bag on the road. Do you feel like that's definitely building more as you're switching up lines too?
Yeah, I think so. Just like probably just on ice chemistry. I think the guys have got to know one another here pretty well. I've liked the mix of a couple good road trips in there, and then also now this will be our second big homestand since the deadline too. So gets guys sort of acclimated to all their surroundings here. Guys get settled in, like Brock and Coyle got their families in, this week. So that's I think that's all good. It's healthy for the players, and still being able to go out on the road and spend some time together and get to know one another off the ice, I think is also important. And just mixing up the lines a little bit, we're seeing some good chemistry. Like I like the Brock Nelson line once Lehkonen and Netcash went there. I think they had some really productive games on the road.
We saw G skating in a red jersey before. Just what's the update on him?
He's day-to-day, so skated today. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I don't know. And same thing with EJ. He had a little tweak, lower body, so he's on a maintenance day today as well, so we'll see on him for tomorrow too.
Going back to that second line you just talked about, there was when Netches first got here, him partnering with Nate seemed like a really good fit, but to your point, it seems like that second line's working well. Is that his versatility, or is that the fact that you guys have, so many players now that you can kind of mix and match and they all work together?
Well, I think both. I think Marty's been really consistent, since coming over to us. Does some things really well that I think can help any line. Transportation of the puck and being able to get it in ozone and, have a controlled entry and still set up to play ozone play where you don't have to necessarily forecheck it back, I think is one of his biggest strengths. And he's using that on all the lines, ability to make plays and use his line mates. He's pretty dynamic in that regard. So, I want to be able to mix those lines up just in case of matchups and whatnot on the road. I don't want to throw a line together come playoff time that hasn't spent any time together. I want them to at least be familiar with one another, practices, games. So there's still some of that experimenting going on. But I think right now, just looking at what I know, I think he can play on either one of those lines and help.
Right about, I guess right at the beginning of this, we can call it a hot streak or whatever, Ross was probably, I talked to him right after the St. Louis game, and he was very visibly frustrated just with himself, with everything, right?
Yeah.
Did you talk to him, or did the coach and assistants talk to him at that point, and has anything changed over the last month other than, obviously he's getting a lot more points, but just what has
Well, I think Charlie Coyle, that's the change. I think the stability, they found an instant chemistry as soon as Coyle went on that line. I think and all three of those guys are playing really good hockey. I think Colts has ramped up his game a little bit, but it's also the identity of that line. They're playing to it. They're a really connected group. They're physical. They're hard to play against down low, protecting pucks. And one thing that line's doing probably better than any other line is, when they're down low cycle, they're bringing it to the net, and they're putting bodies at the net. So they've been a handful in low attack situations, and we always have the option to use their D. We use them a lot. They, lead the league in ozone time by a defense core, by scoring chances, all of that, and but being able to also have a low attack and play hard minutes and grind teams down low is a strength of theirs, and they've been using that strength. So his game's ramped up, but I think the overall line is they're enjoying playing with one another, and it's showing.
With some of these injuries to the back end, Sam Malinsky has had to absorb a lot of responsibility, and one of the things you've talked about with him has been consistency.
Yeah.
What have you seen from his play lately?
It's better. It's like when when we've elevated him in past, he hasn't shown very well. As opposed to what he does for us when we manage his minutes and really sort of pick his opposition and his deployment. He's been good. He's been really good. And then when he's been elevated up in lineup, he hasn't been as good as he's been in when we're doing that. So, but I feel like this time, so that's a big growth for him. Like now he's playing with Lindgren. They seem to be playing really well together. And not only on the defending side of it, but he's just more involved again, like up ice, and it's showing up in his contributions to our scoring chances. Right, he scores a big goal the other night, jumping up in the play again. So I like the fact that he's showing well, especially this time of the year, because you're probably going to have injuries at some point. We're going through it now, and it's not it's not mid-season, games where you never know what you're going to get from a competitive standpoint on a nightly basis. We're playing, these are playoff games for every team that we're playing, including us, right? Like we're trying to stay ahead and move ahead of probably 6-8 teams in the standings, just to, in case we get to where we want to go. Home ice could be a factor, and we're trying to define our game and sort of hone in on all the details of our game. So it's important to us, but it's also important to all the teams we're playing. Like that road trip, mid-season might not have been that important, but Ottawa's in the mix, and Montreal's in the mix, and Toronto's fighting for first. Like you're getting every team's best at this time of the year, and this homestand will be no different. Like there's every team we're playing is fighting for something now.
It's probably been a few years since Logan was a healthy scratch. Does that have more to do with just getting the other guys involved, or
it's certainly not his play. Their play's been outstanding. That line, Drury, Kelly, and O'Connor have been lights out. So that's just making sure we got all 23 guys involved. It's been really good getting Middleton back in. He missed some time with the depth of our D-core, and he's played really well coming back in too. So all good signs for our team right now. I think we're firing on all cylinders, and there's still areas of our game that we want to continue to improve. But the analytics and the eye test from last segment was our best segment of the year, and especially on the defensive side of things.
We've talked a lot about communication on the ice, and I had talked to, I think it was Charlie Coyle, that said that communication creates energy. Is
Yeah.
that kind of what you're seeing the most out of them being able to communicate better on the ice?
Yeah, it helps with the energy. I think like when everyone, because you can tell when everyone's engaged, right, and they're an active participant in your team's success. Like that's what communication tells you. You're not just talking to talk. Like you can tell what they're saying is meaningful stuff and helpful stuff, and there's a little emotion involved in that. It also eliminates confusion, right? So if you're talking on the ice in defensive situations, it's because you're trying to solve problems and make sure your coverage is good, and that's it's all helping. Every little bit helps.